This is Dr. Chris's Radio Horror program at 91.3 FM, WCUW in Worcester, Massachusetts. And returning to Radio Horror after a 6-year absence, she was one of the first guests I've had live in the studio back in 2008. We have Penny Dreadful on the show with us, Danielle.
I don't know who she is. She's my doppelganger. I have nothing to do with that trollish woman. Ha! Yes.
Yes. Thank you for coming back on the show with us, Penny.
Oh, sorry. You had to mention Danielle. Gosh, I just got really bent out of shape there. Hello, Dr. Chris. It's a pleasure to be back here with you. It has been quite a while, hasn't it?
Yes. I have a question. Is it like the Hulk and Dr. Banner, where the Hulk, you mentioned Puny Banner, and that's a bad thing?
Yes, they got that idea from me.
Oh.
They totally ripped. Stan Lee owes me $5 for that idea. That's right.
Now, everyone's asking, are you returning to the airwaves because of the Showtime TV series?
Well, they had to come and call me out. See, I was in a comfortable retirement. I was enjoying my making all the recipes I never got around to in my cauldron, like octopus casserole and things like that. But then this Showtime series showed up, calling themselves Penny Dreadful.
And have you watched that show? I mean, what do you think of it?
Well, I'll tell you. I have I've mixed feelings about it. I watched the first season, and I thought that it was fun. It was a fun show, and I think visually it's very cool looking show. But I think that they go a little too extreme sometimes in what they want to do. They're presenting themselves as a sort of a gothic horror television show using characters from various novels, gothic novels, but I think some of the stuff they show is a little too gratuitous for my taste, and sometimes I found it a little predictable too. Honestly, there were things that happened in the show that I and maybe it's just because I've been immersed in this stuff for so long, but I kind of called it in several situations in the show. That said, I did enjoy it. I would say it's a flawed show, but it's fun to watch, and I plan to watch the second season, especially since I hear there are witches on it. They didn't call me the actual Penny Dreadful, to be honest, but hey, I'm not gonna hold a grudge.
It will just eat you up inside.
That's right. It's just, what it is the story of my life without me in it. That's all.
What are some of the movies that you have coming up this season, which is also, unfortunately, going to be your final season of Shilling Shockers?
It is going to be the final season, but I do have something to say about that as well. It's the final season, but it's not the end of Penny Dreadful. Let's put it that way. We have lots of great movies coming up this season, depending on your definition of what a great movie is. We have Monster from a Prehistoric Planet, because we have to tip the hat to Creature Double Feature and show a kaiju movie this season. So we're showing Monster from a Prehistoric Planet with Gappa. We have also the Blancheville Monster, which is an Italian gothic horror film, really spooky movie. We've got I Bury the Living, one of a classic black and white, eerie, creepy film about a man who seems to have the power to kill people by putting a black pin on this grave. Works for a cemetery, and there's a map have you ever seen this movie? It's a map of the cemetery with all the graves, and the occupied graves have a black pin to indicate that there's a dead body in there, but the unoccupied graves have a white pin, and when somebody dies, he just puts a black pin in that spot. Well, one day he accidentally puts a black pin in one of the graves, and the person who was supposed to have that grave dies, and so this man seems to have this power to kill people by putting these black pins in the grave. It's kind of a really neat movie. Reminds me of sort of a Twilight Zone kind of a thing. We've got that one. We've got The Devil's Messenger, starring the great Lon Chaney Jr. The Wolfman himself plays the devil in this film, and it's an anthology film. There are 3 stories, and he sends the soul of this damned woman to go recruit new people for hell. So, light-hearted affair, that one. And then we have the classic drive-in turkey, Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter.
Oh my god.
Yes, absolutely. You got to have that one in there somewhere. So we got Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter, Western meets horror. We've got Creature from the Haunted Sea, Roger Corman drive-in classic with the cheapest looking sea monster you've ever seen. And we also have a splendid movie entitled Vengeance of the Zombies, a Paul Naschy film from Spain, zombie movie, old school zombies, you know, the voodoo kind that come back from the dead and pretty strong, can strangle you to death, but they're not too hungry like the Romero zombies. They're just kind of controlled by an evil voodoo wizard, you know. So we got lots of fun movies coming up, and go to do a lot of neat stuff this season to bracket the films. Our segments this season are very involved this time around, so should be fun.
And you mentioned the kaiju earlier when you were going over the films. Did you happen to see that the new Gamera trailer is out?
Oh, I have not seen that yet. I'll have to check that out.
Yes, it looks amazing. Groups of Gauss attack Japan, and it's told from the perspective of a child, and then as an adult when the Gauss return, and Gamera returns as well to defend the city. But Gamera looks like a badass in it.
That's wonderful. See, well, he's, you know, not only is he a badass, but he's friend to all children. And that makes me happy.
And he's filled with turtle meat.
Yeah, that's good eating right there. Turtle soup for everybody.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, I still want to see Gamera versus Godzilla, you know, because that's Toho doesn't own Gamera, so we haven't seen that happen yet, have we?
No, but there's been there was a cover of Famous Monsters of Filmland last year that had a great artist rendition of Gamera versus Godzilla.
Ooh, cool. Well, see, maybe that's a premonition of things to come. Maybe Toho will snap up the rights to Gamera, and we can finally see that happen.
It's just like we've never seen Godzilla fight Cthulhu.
That's true. That also has yet to happen. You know, somebody needs to actually make that film right now. I think you're the one to do it, Chris.
Oh yeah, right away.
You have the budget. Just use your budget from the radio show and apply it to the kaiju movie, and that'll be. I can't wait to see it.
I'll do that. I'll get a couple of toys and I'll shoot it stop motion animation style.
Awesome.
And I'll be like, look, I did this in 10 minutes. What could you do, Toho?
See, there we go. There we go.
I mean, Cthulhu's a public domain character, so.
See, you can go for it. I think you should do it. He's also a guy I used to date a long time ago.
Oh, did you now?
Oh, yeah. So yes. Tentacles tickle. We won't talk about that too much.
That was disturbing.
He was a cheap date. He always made us split. He took me to McDonald's. Oh, geez, that was just, we didn't last long. I'll tell you that. But what also did last long was Shilling Shockers. We've been on TV for 10 years now. This is our 10th year on television.
Oh my God.
Yes, 10 years. And while Shilling Shockers is ending, and I have announced that it is the last season of the show, we are going to continue doing Halloween specials. We're planning to still do a Halloween special every year. And somewhere down the line, it's possible that I will do a reboot the show in under a different name, you know, call it like Penny Dreadful's Cobweb Theater or something like that, and I might have a completely different vibe, might have a different layer. We'll see, you know, at some point down the line I may do something different. For the time being, though, I think we'll still do Halloween specials every year, so I'm not completely going to hop on the broomstick and disappear into the night. Can't get rid of me that easily. I'll still be around to some extent, anyway.
How long would your Halloween specials be? Would they be like a couple hours? Would they just be like an hour episode, or would you just dedicate the whole month of October to the return of Shilling Shockers? Instead of doing like 9 or 10 episodes, you do like a month-long thing.
Maybe so. Right now I'm just thinking it would just be would host a movie. It would just be like a regular episode, except it would be a Halloween special, But we might do some other things. I mean, a few years ago, we did a crossover half-hour TV special with Dr. Gangrene, a horror host from Nashville, Tennessee, a good friend of mine, super talented and really nice guy. And we did something called the Dreadful Halloween special, and it was just like a sort of a half-hour throwback to the TV specials you'd see on when you were a kid on around Halloween. So we could maybe do something like that, and we'll probably do some live events and things of that nature. But I'm thinking, we'll probably do like hosting a movie. It'll be kind of a spooky an affair. We'll maybe show something like Nightmare Castle, like with Barbara Steele, and do some spooky segments to bracket that. And I'd like to try to maybe get that on one of the local TV channels, like Channel 56 or Channel 38. You never know. We've never actually really tried to go that route and have the show on. I'd kind of like to get it on Channel 56, just because of the Creature double feature connection. It would be kind of neat to do that, but you never know what the future holds. But for Shilling Shockers itself as a series, season 9 is going to be the end of the series.
And you're still filming them in the same location you've been filming the last 9 seasons?
Yes, the Attic of Terror. The Attic of Terror, yes. In this season, we have... I lost my powers, you see, at the end of season 8, which it's been a while since that cliffhanger happened. So I lost my powers at the end of season 8. And season 9 is all about, trying to get my powers back. And one thing I really wanted to address... with the show was, since I am, of course, a witch, and in horror movies, witches are not a light-hearted affair. They typically get their powers from very dark sources, so, and they do terrible things with those powers in the classic horror movies featuring witches like Black Sunday and Suspiria and films like that. So, and in folklore and mythology, of course, witches are associated with the devil, and that's where they make pacts and all these kinds of terrible things. So, I felt that sort of needed to be addressed in a sense in the show. So we actually do the end of season 8 was pretty dark. There was we wanted to try some things that had never been done on a horror movie host show before. So we address Penny's origins and how I became a witch. Sort of go back to how Penny first got her powers, and she was born with innate white magic, but traded them away because of a terrible tragedy that happened in her life, and had to trade them for dark powers, and made a pact that she shouldn't have made. So we kind of address some of that and bring in horror elements. This is a horror host show, so we did want to kind of touch on that a little bit, rather than I didn't want to always have the goofy corny puns and things are always fun to have, and I would never ever get rid of that. I love vaudeville and I love that kind of stuff, and that's part of the tradition of the horror host. But I also kind of wanted to touch on a little bit on the more sinister aspects of things as well, and explore that a little, because I'm a witch, so of course there's that side to things that needs to be touched upon. But everything gets resolved, and then the rest of the episodes are sort of traditional, silly, fun horror host type stuff. They really throw. I think the last episode especially, and the one where we show Creature from the Haunted Sea, is real sort of classic horror host, traditional, the kind of thing you'd see on Zachary or Elvira or that sort of thing, because I so love that stuff too, and wanted to keep that as part of the season too. So I like to think you could look at it two ways. You could say season 9 is really inconsistent in tone because it kind of jumps around depending on the episode, but it also kind of touches on, I think, all aspects of horror hosting and what makes horror hosting what it is. So I guess I put a little too much thought into it.
You go over so many evilly just bad and stupid films and things like that. What you must have a list of films that are good that you could recommend to people. Do you have a top 10 best horror movie list that recommendations of Penny Dreadful that you should watch?
Oh gosh, I mean, geez, I could go on and on with that. Well, of course, you've got to let's start at the beginning. Um, if we're going to do this, I would probably say you've got to start at the beginning with some of the silent films. Um, I would say Nosferatu, scary movie. I think it's still effective today. Max Schreck is so eerie looking as the vampire. Nosferatu, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which is arguably the first horror film ever made, full length horror film ever made.
Did you know that's being
Then
remade, by the way? Nosferatu is going to be remade again. This time
again, really
starring.
well.
Yep, Doug Jones is going to play the vampire.
Oh wow! See now. At first, immediately I was getting defensive about it, but when you said Doug Jones, I said, "Huh, you know what? I'm willing to give that a shot because Doug Jones is pretty awesome. So I might be down for that. We'll see.
Another guest of Radio Horror, also, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
And
Awesome.
you'll be able to meet him if you've never met him. He'll be at the Rhode Island Comic Con, which you will be at as well.
That's right, in November. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right. Doug Jones will be there. Oh, I want to talk to him about
And Ron
Nosferatu.
Perlman will be there too, Hellboy himself.
Oh, yes, I'm very excited about that. Yeah,
Have you ever read his book, Easy
I
Street?
have not.
Oh, you got to pick it up. I've never read a book by an actor before that I felt connected to. I've read actors' books and I'm like, wow, that inspires me to want to do better in my own career or really pursue this project to get it made. But he admits in the book that before Hellboy, he tried to commit suicide.
Oh, my God. Wow, I did not know
He
that.
took a bottle of pills and he left a note for his wife and that was it. And
That's so sad. Oh, my God, I love him. He's such a talented actor. Like, it's so tragic to hear that. Wow.
I have had my own problems with depression, and I was almost in tears reading it, and I was like when I meet him, I don't know if he gets this all the time or what, but I got to tell him that I felt really connected to that chapter based on my own serious problems with depression.
No, I think he would probably appreciate that. I mean, most people who go up to him at the table probably talk to him about his movies and Beauty and the Beast and Hellboy and all these things he's done. So I think if you talk to him about his book, he'd probably appreciate that you read it and that you connected with it on that level too. Um, but wow, that's awesome. I look forward to meeting him. I'm a big fan of his work. He was a great Clayface too in the Batman the Animated Series. He was the voice of Clayface in that cartoon. And
That's
he was
right.
great as
Oh my
Clayface.
god.
Yeah.
And there's an amazing record coming out from Mondo Records. They're putting out all these Batman vinyls with the scores from different episodes, and one of them is going to be the Heart of Ice, and If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich? The Joker's Favor, The Man Who Killed Batman, on Leather Wings, and one of the episodes is Feet of Clay, the two-part Feet of Clay episode with Clayface, which was a really tragic monster story two-part episode of Batman.
Absolutely, yeah. It was very much in the tradition of the classic Universal monster movies, and it's a great episode. And he was so good as Clayface, as Matt Hagen. He really captured the pathos of that character, and he's a great actor. I'm glad that he pulled out of his depression and continued, and didn't do that to himself. What a tragedy that would have been. But anyway, really look forward to meeting him. But yeah, and I mentioned the silent films, but of course, Universal horror films. You got to watch those. Especially the big three: Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman. And I would add Bride of Frankenstein to that as well. And gosh, why not throw the Mummy in there too? So got to watch those. And then the Hammer films. I love the Hammer films. Horror of Dracula is fantastic. Evil of Frankenstein. Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee are so good. At least, watching the first Frankenstein and the first Dracula movie from Hammer, I think, are essential viewing. And then from there, I would go to the Corman, Edgar Allan Poe films that he did with Vincent Price. So many good films that they did together. I love The Pit and the Pendulum. That's one of my favorites. That's Vincent Price and Barbara Steele. And then you have the House of Usher, which I also enjoy. Oh, The Mask of the Red Death. I would pick Mask of the Red Death, I think, over House of Usher. So that one. Um, and then going into the 70s, there's so much. I mean, I could just go on and on. There are so much good stuff. I love in the 80s. Fright Night. I love Fright Night. That's one of my favorites. Creep Show is fun. Um, what else? Trying to think what else would I recommend here. In the 90s, I'm trying to go by era, and picking something from each era that
No,
I
no,
that
yeah,
I
please do.
yeah, I'm even though I'm mad at Tim Burton because of the Dark Shadows movie, I'd probably pick Sleepy Hollow. I like Sleepy Hollow. I was very upset by the Dark Shadows movie. In case you haven't heard, I'm still mad about that. I'm still not
Oh my
talking
God,
to Tim Burton or Johnny. I'm not talking to Tim Burton or Johnny Depp.
Oh, did you guys have
Just
lunch all the time? You
we
and the
did.
other weird creatures of the night?
Yes, oh yes, we would hang out all the time, and we'd have slumber parties, and it was great. We'd watch old episodes of The Golden Girls. It was so much fun. But now I'm not talking to them because they betrayed me, and that's what Barnabas Collins would say. You betrayed me. They made that terrible movie. Geez, I'm still talking about this. This movie came out 3 years ago, and I'm still mad about it. But anyway, I'm a big fan of the classic TV series, so that's why I'm still riled up about the movie. But yeah, there are so many great movies out there, and then of course I wouldn't discount. I've been talking about American and British horror films, but of course there are the films of Mario Bava, which I really love. Black Sunday, Kill Baby Kill, Black Sabbath, great. But Mario Bava was such a great filmmaker, and of course Guillermo del Toro is coming out with this new movie, Crimson Peak, that's coming out this weekend, and I'm very, very interested in seeing that film because it really reminds me of a Bava film in the way it's lit and shot. So I'm really excited about Crimson Peak, and Guillermo del Toro, in my eyes, can do no wrong. He is, speaking of Ron Perlman, Guillermo del Toro, he's of course directed Hellboy. I think he is the chosen one. I always call him the chosen one as a director because he has an innate understanding of the horror genre, particularly gothic horror, because he grew up reading that stuff. I mean, he immersed himself in the classic novels. He read the literature, the gothic novels growing up, and he loved those movies. He watched all of those movies, and he just absorbed all of that like a sponge. And if you ever listen to an interview with him where he talks about horror, he gets it. He's one of those directors, I think, who understands what makes a horror movie work. So, and horror fantasy, like he captures that sort of sublime fantasy quality that I think is important to have in those types of movies, and that I think a lot of directors kind of forget that aspect of things. So Guillermo del Toro movies, I recommend any of his films too. The Orphanage, Devil's Backbone, and Pan's Labyrinth was great.
You know what? I just found the perfect job for you. Now that you're ending with Shilling Shockers ending, I think I need a new co-host. So you need to come out to Worcester and be the co-host of Radio of Horror.
Oh, okay. That would be a short commute. It won't take me too long. I just got to get on my broom and get on over there, and it'll be fine.
Oh, we'll just do it over. We'll just have you call in over Skype, and then you can become the new host of the co-host of the show.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Hey, I'm happy to come on when I can, but
what?
Plus, I talk too much, so you wouldn't want that.
It's better than me just talking to a microphone for 2 hours by myself because my co-host left. So. But what are you going to be doing with yourself now that Shilling Shockers is over? Are you going to be traveling the world and visiting like the Loch Ness Monster and the Bigfoot creature and breaking into Area 51 to visit the aliens there? What will Penny be doing?
Yes, and probably doing, some knitting and that sort of thing.
Some knitting?
I retire into my rocking chair with my little hellhound by my side. No, I will, yes.
You're not old enough to retire.
I'll probably spend some time in Transylvania. I've always meant to get back there, visit some old friends back there,
I'm planning a trip to Transylvania next year. You should come.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Yes.
Would take over Transylvania.
Yes.
I'd love to shoot an episode in Transylvania. That's something that I've never done. That was on my list of things to do. That Rebecca, who's the directs Shilling Shockers, she edits all the episodes. She's feverishly working away on season 9 right now. She's almost done. I think she only has about one and a half episodes to finish editing. But we talked for years about shooting an episode in Transylvania because every season we try to go to a haunted location or a weird location because as you know, New England is the Transylvania of the United States, since there are so many bizarre places and things that happen here over the years. You can't throw a rock without hitting some sort of bizarre paranormal related place. So but we did actually want to go out to Transylvania and shoot an episode. We just never got around to it. In season 9, though, we did go to the Bridgewater Triangle and shoot an episode. So we did a fake paranormal episode. It was like those paranormal shows like Ghost Hunters and things like that.
Oh yes.
We did a fake paranormal show called Paranormal Instigators, where they go to the Bridgewater Triangle and they find a certain witch hanging out in the Bridgewater Triangle. So they add witches to the list of strange creatures in the Bridgewater Triangle, and winds up turning into some sort of like Blair Witch-esque adventure for them. So it should be a fun episode.
You should maybe come out next September or August, whenever you film your special. There's a place in Worcester called Spider Gates. It's the thinnest veil between the spirit world and the reality in our world in Worcester County.
Is that a cemetery?
Yes, it is. It's a historical cemetery.
I think I've heard about this place. Yeah.
Yes.
Have you ever gone there?
Oh yes, I brought a couple dates there myself.
Such a romantic Dr. Chris is. This is why we get along so well. Did you encounter any strange paranormal things there when you were over at the cemetery?
No, but I did love throwing a rock behind my date to be like, "What was that?" And she'd be like,
"Oh
Don't
God,
do that."
See, you know how to win a woman's heart. Chris.
Yeah.
Terrifying, are they?
Hey, it got her in the mood to make out, so
Fun times.
Or you could do one. Did you ever film? Because you're going to be doing these specials every year, and a couple other great ideas for, let's say, New England to keep the budget down on travel, because that's really what's going to eat up what you do a lot. Possibly do one at the Lizzie Borden house, or maybe take.
Yes, we've done that one already.
Okay. Maybe take the. What about the Lovecraft history tour through Providence?
We have not done that one yet, but we did do Lovecraft themed some Lovecraft themed stuff in one of the episodes, but we did not go. We wanted to go to his grave, but I guess you're not supposed to shoot pictures or things like that at his grave, so we wanted to respect that, and we didn't do that. But a tour would be fun. That might be a good way to do an H.P. Lovecraft thing. I wish there were public domain H.P. Lovecraft films, but there really aren't any out there. There are a few H.P. Lovecraft films, but none of them are in public domain, as far as I know.
What about and then there's another thing in Rhode Island. The first American vampire is buried in Rhode Island.
Yes, we did that one.
You did do that one. Okay.
Mercy Brown in Essex, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes. What season was that in? Because I will admit I have not seen every episode of your show, unfortunately.
That's all right. I won't put a curse on you for that.
Oh.
Count yourself fortunate, actually, that you haven't seen every episode of the show. No, we did. We went. That was in season 7. We did. I start to age, because I am 700 years old, and
wait, season 7. That's the season that I'm in, right?
What's that?
Is season 7 the season that I'm in?
No, you are in season 6. I think you're in season 6.
Is it 6? Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Yes. So we went down to
a little ego push for myself. Yes, sorry.
Yes, I think we interviewed Dr. Chris. We went up to the Radio of Horror lair, up there, and we interviewed Dr. Chris, and that was a lot of fun. But I think that was in season 6. Yeah, either 5 or 6. But no, season 7. I needed the blood of a vampire, so I tried to resurrect Mercy Brown, and so we went to her grave and got some dust from a vampire. But it actually wound up backfiring on me, and I wound up resurrecting the wrong vampire. I
Oh
did.
no.
Yes, yes, it was a very problematic situation, and then of course we had to dispatch the vampire.
Ugh.
So there was a lot of a big kerfuffle. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, that we did go to the Mercy Brown, down to see Mercy Brown down there. Yeah.
Speaking of vampires, I was in Salem this past Friday, your hometown,
Yes.
and lost my Samsung Galaxy tablet in Salem. And I was quite upset, but then I had made sure that I told, I went to every business that I went to. So I lost my tablet.
Oh.
I'm not sure how the word got to him. He probably activated it, but I got a message from my mother and my cousin saying, "Did you lose your tablet? A guy found it." I was like, "Oh, thank God!" And I called the number that my mom gave me, and it was a man who was dressed as a Nosferatu vampire from Salem's Lot. I had dumped some money into his bucket as a street actor, and he said that after I left, there was this black leather book sitting on the ground. Opened it up, and there was a tablet inside, and he stuck it in his waterproof container because the rain started coming down right afterwards.
See, no, like I've been trying to tell people for years, Nosferatu is a really nice guy. Don't judge him based on his appearance, or he looks like the Salem's Lot vampire. I mean, let's face it, say it very similar. And was he outside Count Orlok's Nightmare Gallery?
No, but
Okay.
he sometimes does, but he sometimes will
Uh,
be out there. But he was on Essex Street this
oh,
time.
Essex Street. Yeah. Well, that's great that he found your tablet. I mean, geez, that would have been terrible losing that. See, the Salem residents are always there to help, to lend a helping hand. So there you go. Well,
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful. Salem's a great town. I love going back there. I love hanging around there. um, I haven't been back there in a while, but I look forward to the next time I get to visit Salem. We did a which is an appearance of a free comic book day at Harrison's
Yes,
Comics, and when we released the Penny Dreadful's Cauldron of Terror comic book a few years back,
I remember.
and Guru and I went up there, and we had a great time over there. And I've always meant to do more there. We did a couple of episodes there. We did shoot an episode at Count Orlok's Nightmare Gallery, which is a fantastic place that's run by Mr. James Lurgio, who is the caretaker, or should I say, undertaker of the Nightmare Gallery, and lots of cool movie monster statues with little informational plaques, and it's a really cool place to go visit.
And it's his birthday today.
Oh yes, that's right. I did. I wished him a happy birthday just today on Facebook.
Awesome. So when now is season 9 started or is it starting soon?
Starting very soon.
Okay.
Yes, as soon potentially as next week. I think when Rebecca's ready next week, she's going to put them up on a digital media server and give the TV stations who download digitally first crack at those episodes. So when that email goes out to the TV stations, I'll probably post an announcement to keep an eye out for the episodes. And then some of the stations don't run off a digital server. They still do the DVDs, so we're going to have to mail those out. But the plan is to have it on at least on several of the stations by Halloween, if not all of them, but probably a good portion of the stations will be running it by Halloween, and then we'll have the DVD season 9 box set premiering at Rhode Island Comic Con in November. So we'll have those for sale at our table at Comic Con, and then also on the website.
Awesome. And the website that everyone can go to check all this out is.
It is shillingshockers.com, not Kurt Schilling with an SC, but Shilling, Shilling. You have no idea how many times people have spelled it like Kurt Schilling. No, it is not. It is with an Shilling. If I ever do a new show down the line, it will have a name that people will not misspell. Although I will say, if you look up Shilling Shockers in Google, it is the first thing that will come up. So,
Gotcha. Okay. Now. Okay, and now that we've discussed the ninth and final season of Shilling Shockers, we're going to discuss a tribute topic to Danielle's late husband, Magoo, who was her real partner on the show. He played the werewolf Garou, who was always in character whenever I met him, except for one time. It was in 2010. It was at our mutual friend Garen Daly's horror festival, and I didn't recognize this guy who came up to me, and he said, "Hey, Dr. Chris." I was like, "Oh, hey." Who are you? And he's like, "It's me, Garou, but I don't have my makeup on." I was like, "Oh my god." And that was the only time I had ever met your husband out of makeup, so that was kind of an eye opener.
Yeah, he was incognito a lot of the time, and you know, he was 100% dedicated to being Guru when he was Guru. When he was at the conventions, I used to call him the Pied Piper because little kids would just be absolutely fascinated by him and follow him around everywhere because he just had this exuberance about him when he was Guru. He loved being Guru. I mean, when I first asked him, when I first started whipped up this show, and I've as you've noticed, I've dropped the entire Penny Dreadful thing. That's not me. It's Danielle who's talking now.
Yes.
Um, uh, Ivan, who plays Dr. Manfred von Bülow, the vampire hunter who lives next door. Ivan and I went to high school together, and we had talked for years about doing a horror movie host show, and we never really we never really got it off the ground because we didn't really know where we could get the movies. We had to, we knew we had to deal in public domain movies, and we just figured there were probably only a handful. As it turns out, there were a lot of them.
Oh yes.
And yeah, and when we got this show going, we finally did get it going in 2005. I asked Magoo if he could be the werewolf because I said, "Can you be the werewolf? You won't talk. You'll just have like growls and howls and things like that." And because he had the funniest facial expressions that he would make just in real life, he would crack me up all the time with the faces he would pull. And like Harpo Marx was his idol. He loved Harpo and all the great classic comedians, as do I. I love those comedians, and that was one of the things we bonded over, was our love of classic comedy. And so he was like, his response to it was, "Yeah, sure, baby." That was he just said, "Yeah, sure, baby, I'll do it." So he as soon as he became Guru and started doing that part, it became more than a part. He owned it. He just really took that and ran with it and made it his own special, unique creation. And that's a big reason I want season 9 to be the last season. We shot about half of his episodes, and at that point he had already been diagnosed with cancer, but he still wanted to shoot the season. We had already planned to shoot it, and he couldn't do as much as he did in previous seasons, so we took it easy on him, and he was in maybe about 4 episodes of the season, and we shot all of his footage, and he wanted to shoot all his footage because he was about to start chemo, and he thought he was going to feel too sick to shoot anything else while he was on chemo. So we shot all of his scenes for every episode he was in first. That was the first thing we did. Then he got really sick, and we stopped shooting. We obviously, that was kind of low priority at that point because I had to take care of my husband, and we were focusing on other things at that time. And so, he fought very bravely, and and I still I miss him every day. He's the love of my life and always will be. We stopped shooting the show. I didn't have the heart to do the show anymore. Honestly, I stopped doing it completely. I was saying, we stopped shooting the show, and I didn't have the heart to do it for a long time. But I knew he wanted us to finish it because he told me so. He told me when he was very sick, he wanted the kids to see his last episodes as Guru, which was heartbreaking to hear. But I know we wanted it, so I knew we were gonna have to finish the season. So we eventually we started shooting. Rebecca and I talked about it, and Ivan, and we decided, yeah, we're gonna keep going. So we started up again, and then I had to have. I turned out I had a tumor in my spine, a
Oh my
benign
God.
tumor. So I had to have spinal surgery. So then we stopped again shooting the season. So that we took another hiatus and it took a while for me to get back on my feet. And we started shooting again. And when we went back to shooting again, it was on Magoo's birthday, and we shot this really silly episode with, you know, it was the Creature from the Haunted Sea episode, really classic horror host, silly, fun, corny episode, and we shot it on his birthday, and I was dreading it. I thought it was going to be really sad, but it was invigorating, and it felt like he was there, and I'm sure he was in spirit. I'm sure he was there with us, laughing like crazy at all the foolishness that was going on, and at the good time we were having. And at that point, it made me realize, I don't want to stop being Penny Dreadful. I will keep doing it as long as people enjoy it. But I won't do it to the degree that I've been doing it for the last 10 years. But I'll keep it going to some capacity. But I can't keep doing Shilling Shockers because Magoo was such an integral part of Shilling Shockers. Something is missing if we do Shilling Shockers without Guru. And I can't do that. I can't bring myself to do. If we do something completely different, or just a Halloween special once a year, I think that's fine. But doing the series as an ongoing series without Guru, it just doesn't feel right to me. So that's why I'm ending it, because he added so much to it.
He has a Rondo Award.
He got it the day he passed away. I told him it was announced that he was given that award that day, and I did tell him about it on that morning. I just said, "Hey, you're a Rondo Award winner," and he said, "What? Why?" I said, "Oh, because you won. You got the Pure in Heart Award for your courage," and he just said, "Oh, wow." He was very moved by it. He was clearly, he was not expecting it, and he was very moved by that. But he did know about it, so he got that award on that very day.
Yeah, that's quite the accomplishment.
Yeah, and I have it right here, and that's I have it in a very special place in my lair here. So
your lair. Well, we appreciate you coming back to the show, probably for the last time for Shilling Shockers, but please come back on as Penny Dreadful in the future to talk about a Halloween special. Maybe we can have you on just before it airs to give it a promotional boost. Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing you at the Rhode Island Comic Con, which is going to be your last convention appearance for a while, I believe. So that's
no, actually, I can announce right now we have another one coming
up.
Yay!
Special announcement on Radio Horror.
We have. We're going to be for the first time. We've been asked to attend Super Megafest, and we're going to be there in April. And that's in Framingham, Massachusetts.
And the one in April is actually in Marlborough. The one in Framingham is right next door to where I live. And I mean, I can walk down the street from my house to it. That's in November.
Oh, well, I guess we're doing the Marlborough one.
Yeah.
I guess they were all in Framingham. I guess I should check where I'm going before I leave the house.
You might. Who knows? Maybe you are coming to the one in November in Framingham.
No. Actually, they did invite us to the November one and the April one, but I couldn't make the November one, so we are doing the April.
Oh darn! You would be right in my. You're right in my hometown right now where I live.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm not doing as many convention appearances as I used to. I've scaled that way back, but I do. I'm going to be doing a few every year, a handful every year, just maybe like 2 or 3,
cool.
and it'll just be local ones. I don't plan to go far away we used to go all over Kingdom Come to these conventions.
Oh yes, of course.
we'd go to all of them, so I think probably won't do as much of that. I'm not saying I'll never do an out of area convention. Maybe at some point I will. I don't know, but probably very minimal amount of those happening, and I'll stick to the local region, doing Rhode Island. Not doing Rock and Shock this year, but you never know, maybe next year.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing you at the Rhode Island Comic Con coming up in a few weeks. And thank you very much, both Danielle and Penny, for coming on the show with us.
All right, Dr. Chris, thank you so much. You have a great day or night.